Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
This post-fight interview is brought to you by MMA Mental, MMA Worldwide and YourMMA.tv. It is sponsored by Almighty Fightwear. For more post-fight interviews from the biggest promotions, please subscribe to the MMA Mental YouTube channel. Also, like MMAmental.com, MMA Worldwide, Your MMA and Almighty Fightwear on Facebook. And on Twitter, please follow at MMA Mental, at Your MMA and at Almighty MMA. I'm now joined by Ryan Jimmo. Ryan's coming off of an impressive victory against Sean O'Connell via knockout, winning him a performance of the night. Ryan, thank you very much for joining me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Congratulations on a very spectacular knockout.
Well, it was a good night for me, and I was, in a good spot to be in a successful spot.
Absolutely. Now, we'll talk, of course, about Sean O'Connell. But originally, you were due to face Steve Boss, and then Sean O'Connell took the fight on short notice. How much does that affect you as a fighter when there's a late change of opponent?
You know what? As long as there's not a huge change in style, it doesn't affect you too much. Like, if you were scheduled to fight a kickboxer, and then all of a sudden, a week and a half before the fight, now you're fighting like a Division I wrestler, then it's like that's a hard game plan to switch around all of a sudden. But I think they're both pretty similar opponents. I actually thought Sean probably had more of a complete MMA game than Steve did, so there wasn't a whole lot of game plan changing. I knew they both had heavy hands, and so game plan was sort of the same for both.
What was your view as Sean O'Connell going into the fight as an opponent?
Well, I know Sean for quite a while. I was on the prelims of The Ultimate Fighter in 2008, season 8. So I personally knew him, and I personally really liked the guy. And even after the fight, we sat down, we drank beers together, we watched the rest of the fights. But as an opponent, he was a heavy-handed guy. He liked to get in there and mix it up with his hands. And I knew he was a tough guy, like throw heavy leather. So that I think that kind of says his game plan and his fighting style to a T.
Well, obviously you're a heavy-handed guy as well. You like to strike as well. So do you like fighting people like that?
Yeah, I do like guys like that. It gives me a chance to kind of match my strength against his as well. But the intrigue with MMA is that you get to see different styles, and you get to see how you match up against different skill sets, and that's kind of the intrigue of it. So I like all situations. I like situations where it's guys who are stand-up guys who are heavy-handed, and maybe just brawlers. There are different kind of puzzles to figure out. And I like guys who are more intricate strikers. Then it's more of a skill contest. And I also like guys who are have a grappling background as well, because then that offers different challenges as well.
So what was your game plan then going into the fight with Sean O'Connell?
I want to I thought I was technically a better striker. I thought he liked to get in the pocket there and mix it up a little bit more than me, but I thought, with timing and distance, I thought I was just technically better than him. So I just wanted to keep it on the feet, and I thought my timing and my speed, my athleticism would shine through eventually, and that's in fact just what happened.
How sweet was the knockout? Could that punch have landed any better?
It was pretty sweet, as soon as I hit him, I knew it's like, okay, this is the end of the fight. And unfortunately, kind of when you're fighting, sometimes it kind of time goes in slow mo a little bit, So I could tell the referee wasn't going to step in. You can't tell watching in real time, but when in my brain things were kind of going slow mo, and I could tell that the referee wasn't going to step in. So unfortunately, I had to crack him there a few more times on the ground. But yeah, the victory is very sweet, and it always feels good to get a highlight reel.
Now there was on that night. There was some really good finishes that night. How nice was it for you to pick up the bonus?
Well, they had KJ News, I believe, he had the other knockout. So yeah, he picked it up, and but I think his was right after mine, or a fight or two after mine. So I was like, oh, geez, I hope there's not too many more spectacular finishes. Just because I'd rather have $50,000 than have someone else take it. So yeah, there's some pretty impressive finishes. So but I thought with the severity of that knockout and how clean it was, I didn't think anyone was going to be stealing that from me, unless they did like a spinning hook kick or something.
Yeah, I mean, do you think as well it's good that they've changed it then from being a submission and knockout to performance, so therefore they could pick two knockouts with yours and KJ Noon's both getting the bonus?
Yeah, I think so. And some nights it's like, what if there's like only one knockout or no knockouts and no submissions, so I think it's a better way to make sure that there's always awards going out, and they're providing the guys who give the exciting finishes or who have a great performance. They're able to reward them properly.
Yeah, I agree. What was it like as well for you being back fighting back in Canada? Because I know you fought in Canada before, but it must be nice to go back and fight in Canada in your home country, and obviously to get a win as well.
Yeah, of course. It's always good to return home. I mean, I'm in Arizona right now, so I find Canada really chilly. I got pretty used to this weather really quick. But you know what? There's no place like home, and to use a cliche there, and it's 100% true. I mean, I miss the people there, and I didn't realize, I forgot how much French. It was in Quebec City. So I forgot how much French I actually spoke when I'm up there, because it's all French there. So it was good to kind of get back and get back in the cold and speak a little French, and just be around the Canadian people.
Interestingly as well, you're obviously currently 3-2 in the UFC, and all three fights you've won have all been in Canada, and all the two fights you've lost have both been outside of Canada. So have you told them you want your next fight to be in Canada?
Yeah, I do. I want to get on that Vancouver card in June, if that's possible. But only with the right opponent. Right now I'm at a bit of a crossroads in my career. My next move is pretty important. A 50-50 fighter isn't something that I see myself as. And in all fairness, I don't know if I should be a 50-50 fighter. Like with the James Sahuna fight, I was pretty injured going in, and I thought I won the first round 10-8, and then he came back and won the other two rounds. I thought it was probably a tie fight, and then but I think if I hadn't been injured and hadn't injured it again in the fight, I think I certainly would have won that fight. And some could argue that the fight should have been stopped. And then the injury stoppage with Jimmy Manoa. In that fight, I really wasn't settled into a camp. I was kind of jumping in between two camps, so I had a lot of cross wires in that fight. So my next fights, I'm in a good camp. I'm at Power MMA. I'm in Arizona. I've been here, and all the skills are settling in nicely, and I get along well with my team. And moving forward, it's going to be important that I pick the right fight. But I would prefer it to be in Canada, but only if it's the right opponent in the right situation for my career.
Have you got your eye on anybody you'd like to face? I mean, seeing where you talk about being a 50-50 fight, but you've never ever been a 50-50 fight. I mean, your record is so impressive, and it's like you say, those two losses, it's just been the nature of the sport, hasn't it, with the injuries and whatever. But so have you got your eye on anybody you'd like to face to help you get yourself up the rankings?
I would like to fight someone like Fabio Maldonado. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's a tough guy, and he's a guy that I think, given my record in the UFC so far, and given he's a good guy that I think would be a great, entertaining fight for the fans, and I think that'd be a good next fight for me. It'd be an appropriate step up. That's what I think. And then, to either one of us to get some momentum. So I think he's the next step for my career.
That would be a hell of a fight, because, I mean, he brings it, and, of course, you bring it as well. So that would be really exciting to watch.
And you know what I think? I just think the UFC kind of has to make it happen, because it'd just be such a great fight. Every time he comes to the octagon, he brings it. It's like fight of the night type deal. And, I mean, when I get in there, as long as the other guy's game, it's usually fireworks. So I think it's something that has to happen.
Well, I'd love to see that happen. Ryan, I really appreciate giving me your time today. Thank you very much.
All right, talk to you later.
Well, before we let you go, just give you a chance to do some shout-outs. Obviously, congratulations on your win as well. But before we go, just shout out your Facebook and your Twitter, and then anyone you want to thank.
Yeah, so if you want to reach me, you can reach me on Facebook under Ryan Jimmo, as well on my Twitter at Ryan Jimmo. And I just want to thank everyone who's helped get me here so far. Power MMA, my karate teacher and strength teacher, Tim McClellan. I want to thank First Ranch Management for being behind me and help me reestablish my foot in my career. And that's about it. And thank you very much for everyone who's helped me so far.
Brilliant. Well, I really appreciate your time, like I said, and I hope we get to see that fight. I think that'll be an excellent fight.
I think so as well. We'll petition for it.